repeat the nonconformist oath. I promise to be different. I promise to be unique. I promise not to repeat things other people say.
Okay, welcome to Positive Blatherings with Fitz. My guest today is Jose Peo, and you're running for city council?
I am,
Rochester?
Northwest. Yes, sir.
My goodness. You are definitely the best dressed guy to walk in through the door.
Hey, I appreciate that.
I have to say that.
I hope they say that every time I walk in the door.
I wanna like pick your brain later about fashion because I know nothing.
I know about discounts. That's what I know about.
Yeah. Hey, that's good.
Yeah, man.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, man.
I'm a big fan.
Suits on a budget.
So around town you're known as the Lone Soldier.
Yes.
I did some research on you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The Lone Soldier, which is pretty cool because it's kind of like a double meaning. You're like the Lone Soldier, but you're also a lone, so like loans.
And I'm a veteran.
And you're a veteran too.
Yes. Yep.
Wanted to talk about that. So the name of this episode is called Positive Intel because you were in the intelligence game.
I was. I like that.
So throw down some intel. What did you do in the Army? You ended up as a sergeant when you got out?
Yeah, man. I made sergeant pretty swiftly. I had sergeant within 3 years, which if you were in the military, you know that's actually pretty fast. But yeah, I was stationed in Korea for a year. Most of my time was spent in El Paso. I was deployed to various locations, mostly in South America. I worked the anti-drug mission down there, and
wow,
it was a good time.
That must have been pretty crazy though down there with that. That stuff gets pretty crazy. The anti-drug, everything that was going. I mean, you probably can't even talk about half the stuff you saw.
Not all of it, but this was early 2000s. I've been out of the military for 15 years.
Really?
And yeah, a lot of it was done in Colombia, so you can tell that.
Oh yeah,
it could get scary.
Now, what's your background?
As opposed, when I'm from Rochester, born and raised.
Yeah,
here
but your family background, Peo. Where does that name come from?
Actually, Peo is my stepdad's last name. My original last name, which a lot of people don't know, so you're getting it firsthand here.
There you go.
My original name is Jose Miguel Vega.
Okay.
Peo is my stepdad's last name. So when my parents got married, I got adopted by my stepdad, got the Peo last name.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm Puerto Rican.
You're Puerto Rican.
Yes, full-blooded.
So, all right, that's interesting. So, and you heard it here on
You heard it
Positive.
Here. Yes, first time I actually said it out loud in a public sector. So we're gonna go, man. You got it out of me already.
All right, we're rolling. So tell me now. I know just from being alive on this planet for 46 years and talking to people, running for any kind of political office is harrowing. It's demanding. It's taxing. How do you? Because you walked in, you're like, and I know. You know, all BS aside, when you're in politics game, you gotta dress the part, you gotta walk the walk and talk the talk, and you have to walk around and be personable and all that kind of stuff, which you pull off very well.
Thank you.
Because I mean, it's not, and I don't mean that like you're putting on any kind of a show.
No, because I never would.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel that you're an authentic guy. Where a lot of times when I meet politicians, it's kind of like, okay, we're
right.
Take off the mask, let's get to know the real you. But
exactly.
I've already gotten that like in the first 30 seconds of us talking.
Hey man,
which is really cool.
You're right, dude. I like to keep it. I'm a person, man. I'm not a politician by trade. I didn't go to college for politician. I'm just a regular guy trying to make the city of Rochester a better place.
Yeah.
And I am who I am. I want people to accept me for who I am because when you create that front, you are expected to have that front at all times.
Right.
So I'd rather just be myself at all times.
Yeah, and then you don't have to worry about when you let your guard down because your guard's always down.
Right. You don't have to remember what you had said before in order to keep that identity going. Exactly.
So take me back to when you first decided that. I mean, this is the blathering, so we're going to jump around. It's going to be crazy.
That's cool.
Take me to where you first decided that you wanted to make a difference, and by your choice to do that was to run for office.
Yeah, actually, it was years ago. I was homeless about 6 years ago.
Really?
I was living on the floor. I had my own cell phone shop. in the city on Dewey Avenue. And I was literally sleeping on the floor at my shop and showering in the faucet there, and then going from couch to couch, whoever would have me. And at that point, I said, you know what, Jose, I know you can do better than this, and you need to do better than this because Rochester needs you. If you love something that much, yourself or those around you or the city around you, do something about it. And I really picked myself up. I picked myself up from the britches and just put myself into work and really expected more of myself. And that's when I got into finance, actually, in 2012. That's when I said, you know what? I don't know that much about finance, but I want to learn because that's where I was struggling. I was $14,000 in debt.
Yeah.
I was homeless. I had nothing but credit cards to my name, right? And so at that point, that's where I said, this is the game plan. This is what you're going to do. You're going to get back on your feet. You're going to pay off your debt. You're going to buy your own house. You're going to buy a house in the city, and you're going to run for a politician because you want to create a change for those out there who have been in the same situation. You want to show that you can become something, because Rochester is a city of, you can do whatever the heck you want in the city of Rochester, man. You can, if you want to make money off of whatever it is, like this right here. Look at this. This is amazing, man. I gotta say, all this stuff right here is amazing. So if you have that in you, you can start from your smartphone. You know, you can do videos out there. You can do all. Look, you put in the work, things will happen. You have to put in the work though, and it's hard work, very hard work. But that's the beginning of it. It was laying on the floor of my store saying, Jose, you can do better.
Yeah.
Get off your behind and do better.
Who can you pin this on one person? Who's the person that was in your ear?
Oh man, this is gonna sound funny. I hope no one takes this the wrong way. It was Michael Jackson.
Yeah?
Michael Jackson. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change.
Right.
And
so that song inspired you, and you were like, got to do this.
That's it. I mean, it comes down to yourself. If you want to make a change in this world, one man can change the world. You know, and you really, but you have to do the work. That's the difference between some of us and those who are still in that position. They're not willing to put in the work.
Let me tell you, for years, and my wife would tell me this all the time, you're just waiting for something to fall in your lap.
Right.
Fall in your lap.
Right. The right opportunity, the right time.
Right. And to be perfectly honest with you, I have this because the right thing fell in my lap. But this time, I picked it up and I ran with it, like you're saying.
Right.
Where I could have just said, oh, you know, not everything's, the situation isn't right yet.
Exactly.
This looks cool, but what if, you know.
And you're working full time at the same time. So a lot of people out there would have been like, you know, this is where I have my full time gig. I don't have time for that. I got my family.
Right.
But man, you're putting in the work, man.
Yeah. And I'm exhausted for it, but it's okay because it's mine.
Exactly.
You know, so, and I'm sure that's how you felt when you were, you know, sleeping on the floor in your cell phone station, in your cell phone shop, you know, like, and then you heard a Michael Jackson song.
Well, Michael Jackson is one of he's my favorite artist of all time. So it always played in my head, but I was never doing the right thing. You know what I mean? You make bad decisions and then you let it harp on you. You let it grow on you and you fester. It had to get to a point where you just let it all go and just say, you know what? That was one chapter in my life, or that was chapters in my life. Now it's time to create the rest of my book.
Yeah. You know, it's an interesting thing that you bring up there, an idea about regrets, because if you think about it, we always want answers, right?
Right.
And regrets they come from that place where that's an answer. That's a question that can never be answered.
Right. Because from within. Because
you never did it. So you'll never know. So that's really cool. So you were just like, all right, that's it. I'm gonna, and how, you know, I could almost hear the Rocky music in the background, and you stood up and you're like, that's it. We're doing this.
Right.
And you turn into like some 80s film montage where the next thing you know, 5 minutes later, you're in your suit.
I needed a Mickey. I guess Michael Jackson was my Mickey at that point.
That's pretty cool though. But do you have a mentorship is it's an important theme on this show. And that's one of the things that I wanted to ask you, because you have a military background and you did well in the military. Do you have any other mentors that is it? I mean, it could be a group of people, or
it's sad. I can answer that right now. None.
Really?
Not a single person. That's what a lot of people don't realize growing up in the city or growing up poor. You don't have that many mentors. You don't really have someone to look up to. A lot of people have their fathers to look up to. Look, I love my dad. right? And it took a number of years for us to be at the relationship status that we're at now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a great person. But he was a mechanic.
Yeah.
And I'm not a mechanic. That's not in me, you
Yeah.
know? And I didn't see that as something that I wanted to be. So I never looked at that as something to emulate. But I could have learned from that. I could have learned how to treat other people. My mom and my dad both were just super nice people. And unfortunately, I didn't learn that till later on in life, that right there can carry you much further than whatever skill set you might have. If you can't treat people correctly, then it doesn't matter. So I would say, if anything, I learned to be a good person from my parents. But when it came to mentorship on how to grow into being the man that I am today, unfortunately, I didn't have anybody. So the quote where it says, be the person you wish you had as a child, or be the mentor you wish you had as a child.
Yeah.
That stuck in my head, and that was one of the other quotes, and to go along with Michael Jackson, be the change. But it was, if you want to leave a legacy, if you want people to remember who you are, be that change and be the mentor that you wish you had. So I would love. I talk to a lot of kids, and I try to, give them a little bit of learning. My fiance's 10-year-old son. I mean, that you have kids, right? And three kids. Boys, girls, what?
I have a boy and 2 girls.
A boy and 2 girls. Okay, so the boy, as the dad, you're supposed to leave some kind of impression on them to be a man when they get older, how to be a man, right? And now I have that. Thank God, my fiance has an amazing son who is so gifted in so many different areas. But one thing he doesn't have that I'm trying to teach him is the very basics of life, of how to be a man. And that's the tough part. It's you can grow up to be a person.
Yeah.
But to be a man, and what does that mean? What does that mean when you have words that when you speak them, it means something? When you have a work ethic, what does that mean? So, now that I'm thinking about it, dude, that's what my dad was doing my whole life. And again, you don't realize it till later on in life.
Because when you think of a mentor, you think of it almost in a business world idea, like, oh, there was this, an accountant that,
right. Someone you want to emulate to
or
be
a
like,
teacher or something like that, and you go back and you go, oh my gosh, it was my dad the whole time,
right.
Jeez
Louise, dude, you're getting a couple of new, fresh new things out of me today, dude. That's amazing. I love it. Make sure you come to Rockbox. You can come see him. You can get it all out of you.
My man right there.
Right.
But see, it's all about the journey.
Yes.
And your journey, I mean, so our mutual friend Justin.
Yes.
Right? That you work with Justin.
Keep the real in real estate.
There you go. A happy client at Rockbox.
Yeah.
He says, I've been watching your blatherings and you need to have this guy Jose on.
That's amazing.
I'm like, okay. And I don't, most of the people that I've had on the show, I know in some way, or I know of them because they're in the media, or or somebody was sharing a story about them. I'm like, hey, come on. You're actually the second person that was on here that I really didn't know at all.
Love it. That's
good. And
give me the opportunity to at least give you a good impression of who I am, right? Before you hear it on the media.
Yeah, right. There you go. So this, for me, it's really cool because I took 5 minutes. I looked at your pages. I looked at some of the videos on your Facebook page.
Nice.
But I don't like to get too much information.
Right.
Because I want to draw it out.
Yeah, because you never know. It could be fake. I could be a completely different person in real life. You never know, right?
I don't see that.
I hope not.
I seriously do not get, and it's like I said before, sometimes I get that from people, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But no, I don't get that at all from you.
I appreciate
that. Which is
that.
pretty cool. So when doing the running for office and going down that road, what was the first big hurdle that you ran into, and how did you sidestep it or jump over it or whatever?
The biggest hurdle was petitioning, was making sure
to get on the ballot.
Exactly, getting the right number of signatures, because you're going door to door. People don't answer their doors anymore.
Yeah,
you better call before you go to someone's house. Like my fiance would never answer the door unless someone called before and said, I'm on my way. So getting people to answer the door, getting people to listen to who you are, because look, I'm not well known in areas outside of Charlotte. I'm the vice president of Charlotte Community Association. I'm very active. I've done clean sweep in the area for years and years. But outside of Charlotte neighborhoods, I'm not that well known. And even though I had a store in the city, it was Poochie's Wireless. So people might hear the name Poochie and might think of me. But
All right, we're going to come back to that later, but go ahead.
Again, not many people know that. That's my family name. But yeah, just getting people to sign a piece of paper stating that they're okay with me being on the ballot. It takes a lot, but that goes hand in hand with sales. You know, if you can't convince somebody that you've never met to do something that they may not want to do, then you're not very good at sales, right? So I just took that as a reason to hone in on my skill.
Right.
So going door to door, I've been doing it for politicians before this. I've worked for them, with the Monroe County Democrats for a number of years.
So you kind of had the feel, you had the spiel, you could,
I've had
the
door
confidence.
They've slammed the door on my face so many times.
Sure.
I've been yelled at, screamed at, swore at.
But now when you do that, you have the actual physical petition with you on a clipboard.
Right. Yep.
So now you go dressed like that?
It depends on where I'm going, and if I have a little bit of time right after work, then yes. If I've got a couple of hours, I'll go home. I'll usually go home and change because these shoes are not made for walking. I'll tell you that. All right,
That's a good point. That's a good point. You got to be comfortable too.
You got them because your feet will hurt because you're walking up the. You don't remember. You're not only just walking, but you're going up the stairs.
Yeah,
you're going down little hills. You got to have the right shoes.
And it's Rochester, so.
And if you're wearing a suit in the inner city, you may have the door slammed on your face a little more often than you want.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. So I put on regular clothes, make sure people realize I am a regular person, that
That's
I am from
point.
Rochester.
That's a good. And like, see, my privilege is skewed. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking of it from my neighborhood and from my point of view. If someone comes walking up with a clipboard and they look dressed like just jeans and a t-shirt, I'm like,
nah, yeah, right.
But if dude's got a nice jacket and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, oh, let's see what he's got to say.
Jehovah's Witness all day.
This is true.
Right.
This is true. But they don't have a clipboard. They have a bigger book.
Right.
Then I know.
I still give them the time of day. I give
Do
Jehovah's
you?
Witness.
You're a good man.
I answer
I
the door.
don't even answer the door.
Because I know how tough it is.
I can be standing in the doorway looking at them and I want to. No, I'm not rude.
Oh, man, that's terrible.
I feel for them. I just don't. I don't want what they're selling.
Right.
I already got what I need in that department.
There you go.
And I know some people that they get nasty and they do weird stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Answer the door naked and stuff like that. I'm not gonna.
Hey, if you want to get rid of them quickly, man, just answer it in your robe. Easy peasy. Get them out real quick.
How many times have you
I've been in my towel a couple of times, but that's because they're not.
No, I don't mean you. I mean when
not
you
while petitioning. Then I'll really get votes.
There you go. They should go try to get people to sign your list when you're in a towel.
Right.
No, when you go up to somebody's door and have you had any like really weird things where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna come back later.
Yes. I had a lady like swearing, yelling at her kids. Like, how dare you answer the gosh darn door? Like, I'm like, oh man, I just got this little kid in trouble.
Because you ring the doorbell and they're like, hello.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
because they're kids, they don't know.
Or the door's already open and it's just a screen door. So I'm like, hi, can you get your parents? Right. Like, oh yeah. Or they're outside playing. So they're like, why would you talk to a stranger? And I'm like, it's my fault. Yell at me. But vote for me.
Yeah, but vote for me.
Right.
But I think do you find that most people overall are at least receptive to listen to you?
No. In Charlotte, yes.
Because they know you.
Yeah, they know me or they know of me. They've heard of me.
Right.
But in other parts, it's tough because, they will, unfortunately, they can judge by the color of your skin.
Yeah.
And they see it and they see you as not one of them. But they don't know. I grew up in the city. I grew up on Avenue D. I grew up on Avenue C. I grew up in the Hollenbeck. I grew up on freaking Strathmore Circle. Like, these are areas in Conkey. These are areas that you probably don't want to be in nowadays. And those are the areas that raised me. Those are the communities that raised me. It took a community, right? Or it took a village.
So you know those neighborhoods. You know the people and what they're going through in their lives.
Yeah.
And
I too.
That's
was poor.
important. That's important.
Yes. So I if they can give me 1 second of their time and attention, I can usually convert them. I can give them something to say, look, I'm not just some guy in a suit, or I'm not just some Joe Schmo schmuck that's running for politician. I'm someone from the community that's just trying to make a better place for their children.
So how did you constantly just hear the Michael Jackson music in your head when this like 15 doors slammed in your face?
I hear Michael Jackson every day. Michael Jackson's in my head every day.
See, for me, it's Zach Brown Band. It's right there.
I
on
see
the
the
back
sticker.
of it.
I can honestly say I've never heard a Zach Brown song.
I can believe that. Seriously, it's not there. It's not something that's widely listened to unless you're into that music.
No,
not like Michael Jackson. Everybody's heard of Michael Jackson.
Everybody.
The Thriller album was one of the first albums that I ever got.
When my uncle would babysit me on the weekends, he would just put Michael Jackson videos in front of me, and I'd just sit there all day watching like Moonwalker. And that was the time of my life, watching Michael Jackson.
I remember my friends and I, when I was, I couldn't have been more than 11 or 12. My friends and I, we had his dad just bought a video camera, and we tried to remake the Billie Jean video. We tried to do that, and we tried to do Thriller, but Thriller was too much.
Did you flash a flashlight on the sidewalk to make it look like it was glowing?
No, it's funny. We did. We drew the squares with chalk.
Yeah.
And when we stepped on it, and then we would stop the camera and then fill it in with the chalk.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then hit record again. But, we didn't know what we were doing. So
did you know what the song was about?
No.
Okay.
I mean, we had an idea, but I don't think we really
fully
thought
grasped
about it.
Yeah.
It was just a catchy tune that everybody liked at the time.
Yeah. You were too busy looking at his socks. That's why. That's why he wore those socks. So you would be staring at his socks and the things on his fingers. You're too busy looking at his fingers and his socks, seeing his dance moves. I love Michael Jackson.
So you have constantly all of this negativity thrown at you from everybody as you're going through, and this, and I've heard this from other people who are trying something that goes against what people think they should be doing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Their expectations of you're running for office. Wow, that's weird.
Right.
You shouldn't be running.
Right.
You don't look like a politician, which is exactly what you want. But
Yeah. Exactly.
how do you deal with that? How do you deal with all the negativity and the the people that talk smack?
You got to understand that they're not talking about you personally. I mean, coming from a sales background, they're not mad at you per se. They might be mad at the system. Or they might think that the system, it doesn't work anyways, and you're just another person trying to get my tax dollars and trying to run away with it and just putting your own people in position of power and getting them jobs. Look, you got to understand, it's not on you personally. And my skin is pretty thick, man. I like I said, when growing up poor, or we were house poor. Like we had a nice house in a good area, but we did not have. I had to work for my own sneakers. I had to work for my own clothes.
Yeah.
But you grew up that way where people were making fun of your sneakers, people were making fun of your clothes. You did not fit in the environment that you were in, and that made me who I am today. As much as it sucked as a child to be made fun of for something you had zero control over, and being short. I'm 5'2". You can't see it on the cameras. I'm 5'2". So people make fun of me and my last name Peo. Like, those things are something I've dealt with my entire life. So anyone
So now they can throw anything at you.
throw
You're like,
anything
what?
at me. Nothing at all can faze me. I have very thick skin. I'm a grown man. I am very confident in who I am and what I bring to the table and what I have already been doing. So right now I'm in a position where, like you said, an opportunity came up. I was ready for it. I put myself in a position to be ready for it, and I'm just running with it.
That's awesome. I really admire you for that, because I am the opposite of you in a lot of ways. You're
not 5'2".
I'm not 5'2".
Okay.
Actually, it's nice to meet someone who's actually shorter than I am.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You made me feel so good about myself. My wife is always ragging on me because I'm like, I mean, I think I'm, depending on the day, I'm like either 5'7.5" or 5'6.5". I don't know.
Oh, jeez.
It's weird.
You poor thing.
Yeah. Right. You're like, shut up.
Right.
What was I talking about?
Your wife making fun of you for your height.
No, I was saying that so I have for years lacked the self-confidence. Like I've always prided myself on my interpersonal skills. Like I can get along with just about anyone and talk with just about anyone, but getting to the point where I actually talk to them is the hard part. So I've never been good at sales. And that's not good when you're in your own business. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Really,
you can hire for someone for that, though.
Yeah, well, not,
at a certain point.
Yeah.
But you're gonna start.
So lately I've had to force myself.
Yeah, you got to.
And this is one of the ways. Now, granted, you're coming to my place.
Right.
This is my dojo, so it's like I feel a little bit more at ease, and I'm not, knocking on doors and stuff like that.
I need to put a gi on. Right.
All right, dojo maybe not a great word.
No,
For
you're good. But no, it starts with starting, just doing it.
Yeah.
And it will come because if you just try. I always tell people, just put yourself out of your comfort zone, and then at some point that discomfort will become comfortable.
Yeah, and that's another huge theme that we've had on the show, and that's doing things that are uncomfortable to you, getting out of that comfort zone
Absolutely.
and going out beyond,
Yeah.
and shaking things up, because that's the only time you grow.
Discomfort.
Yeah.
Discomfort. They always bring it back to when you're working out, you got to rip the muscles in order to grow the muscles, right? So
That's right.
You gotta put yourself in uncomfortable positions. Look, I can be as confident as I say, as I look, as I am, but when it comes to the politics, when I'm in front of a crowd and they're hating on me, it is very uncomfortable. But you got to learn to not let that sink in. You got to know, look, I'm coming from a place in my heart where it's a humbleness, where it's also confidence at the same time. But you know that you've put in the work, and you know that you've put in the work here. You know that you should be confident. All this right here, man, you're setting it up. I was watching you getting it all ready and stuff like that. You got it, dude. So you just got to tell people, look, man, you got to come to me because I'm the only guy that can have 4 headsets and know which one goes on my head.
Had a pile of headsets on the table just before we started.
They're good. They're comfortable, though.
That's good. That's good. Best $20 I ever spent. So all right. So give me what's up with the election, and give me all the information on what you want people to know.
Multiple things I want people to know. I want people to realize that in order to fix the real estate in Rochester, where there's empty houses, where there's decrepit houses, the zombie homes, you need to have someone that's local in the real estate market, that understands the real estate market and understands financing.
That's a good point.
Right? So you can put together all these different things to help people get into homes. But if you have, almost 2,000 zombie homes or empty lots or something in the city that you're just sitting on, not making any money on them, you need to get somebody there that understands the local market.
Right.
So, that's one thing. But when it comes to city council, I think at this point it's becoming like a rubber stamp for the mayor. Not that I don't respect the mayor. It's just that certain things feel like they're just an agenda that's being pushed. And we're not okay with that in Charlotte. We are not. We fought against, there was supposed to be a big hotel that was going to be built in Charlotte. Mm-hmm. If you know anything about Charlotte Beach, we're not an area for a big 14-story hotel.
No.
Right. You're not coming into
Charlotte. It would be a nightmare just to drive into that.
Exactly. So we fought against it. Like, that's something we fought against and won. And we beat the city for that. And that's something that the rest of the city is not as active about it. They kind of sit back and just take it, or they fight against it after the fact. Us in Charlotte, we have a very active community association, which I firmly believe anyone that cares about their community needs to be a part of their community association, because that is a collective voice as opposed to just your one voice.
Right.
Because there's always going to be someone that says, I don't want a dog park in my area. Well, guess what? You got 500 people around you, neighbors that do want a dog park in their area. So, and they're part of the community association.
Right.
Right. And they're the ones that came to city council and talked about it. You came after the fact. So being a part of the community association, having a bigger voice, that way you go to the city and kind of demand what you want in your neighborhood. You build the neighborhood that you want, and instead of the city dictating what they want in your neighborhood. And those are big things that I think are very important. The real estate world, the community empowerment, but also we all know the Rochester City schools are they're terrible. Let's just say it. It's bad. Our son was in the city school district for 5 months before we yanked him out. Like, he got stabbed in the eye, like right here with a pencil. He was in a fight every single day. And this is a good kid. He's very humble. He's like quiet as heck, right? And we were just having so many issues with the city school system. We pulled him out. He's in a private school right now, and he's having the greatest year of his life. He's, great grades, everything. Our city school district needs help, and they're not teaching the kids the right way, in my opinion. They're not teaching the kids the right way. This day and age, these kids need to learn in their own way. And nowadays, you have YouTube that are teaching them things. You have every kid has a freaking iPad
right
nowadays. That doesn't mean give them an iPad. That means show them how to do the work and not just dictate that 2 + 2 = 4. Well, why does 2 + 2 = 4? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it from a business perspective. Especially that's another part, getting businesses involved with the high schools, because a lot of these high schoolers are either not graduating or they're graduating and not going to college, and they're coming out of high school with zero capabilities of getting into the workforce and making a good living. They don't know anything besides, well, let me go get a job at the mall or let me go get a job at McDonald's. Not that those are bad jobs by any means.
Sure.
But if we brought this right here, a podcast, or showing them how to do a podcast, that would be amazing to some of these inner cities kids. And you say, look, I will show you how to create a podcast, but you have to stay in school and you have to get good grades. If you can't do that, then we can't keep on with this. The news stations, show them how to edit a video. Every kid nowadays has a YouTube station or is trying to be the next, Instagram star or Facebook star, right?
Yeah.
Show them how to edit a video appropriately. Put them through the actual process of it, and still say, look, you can come here after school, but you have to go to school and you have to get good grades. Those are incentives to keep the kids in school, and they're teaching them something so that when they get out of high school, they can say, you know what? I want to go to college for journalism. I want to go to college for audio technician, or I just want to jump into the workforce because I've already had this kind of training and I can start making money for my family. Because a lot of these families are resting on their high school kids to kind of make money for them to help with the bills. That's an idea that doesn't stick well with a lot of the suburbia Rochester parts. They're like, no, they got to go to college. They got to go to college. Not everyone wants to get heavy laden with this student loan debt. Right. I went to college for marketing, and I've got, even with my, GI Bill, I still have, student loan debt, and I'm not in my marketing field.
You're not marketing. Right. I mean, kind of.
I think everything is marketing.
Yeah.
Everything is marketing. But,
do you think that it starts at home as opposed to like, where's that line drawn between what these children learn at home and how much the school is required to do in this process? You know what I mean?
I see it from different angles. I that right there, because when Jaden was coming home, that's my fiance's son, when he was coming home from school with no joke, 2 to 3 hours of homework a day. And that was very tough on us, the parents, because now we were learning at the same time, relearning what he was being taught at that point.
Right, because they changed math all around. You're like, what is this crap?
Exactly. So you were relearning it, and now you're like, I don't know, 4 times 4 is 16. Like, you just do it. I don't know how to actually put the things.
Yeah.
So I'm not a trained teacher. I don't know how to handle.
So you think that the homework load is a little too much? Which I agree with, because, I remember they told us, my kids are in Fairport District. And they told us, all right, so whatever the grade is, that's how many, there's a half hour per year. So, like, if they're in 6th grade, they should be doing 3 hours worth of homework a night. I'm like, I don't ever see my kids doing homework.
Well, kids should be kids. They're
doing it they're doing it in study hall, or they're doing it in resource, or on the bus or something like that,
Yeah.
And, but that's a good point, because when they come home, my daughter is on the autism spectrum, and when she's done with school, she's done.
Good. Because that's how it should be. Just like when you're done with work, you're done with work. You need to have a family life. Right. And you need to let this brain develop some kind of creativity. And these kids are growing up where they're going to school for their 7 hours, however many hours during the day, and then they're coming home and then they still have 2-3 hours worth of homework. They're getting stressed out. Like, look, we don't want to coddle kids, obviously. But if we were working 10-hour days, we would also be stressed out. We're stressed out as grown-ups. Yeah. And we have more time during the day because we don't have a 9 o'clock bedtime, right? So
I do. I get up at 4.
Oh, God. God bless your heart.
Yeah, so I mean, going to bed at 9 is late for me, but that's another story.
But I think kids need to develop that mindset where they should be creative. Mm-hmm. And they should learn how to take that creativity, and in this day and age, you can market that and you can make money off of that. How many kids now are social media stars just because they have creative values? Like, that's huge. So I think the future of America is allowing these kids to be the kids, allowing them to be who they are, and still obviously going to school, still learning the basics, yes. But whether they go to college or not, they better have a plan, and the parents need to be right there behind them, teaching them along the way.
I think the biggest thing, I've heard this before, and I couldn't tell you who I heard it from, probably a bunch of different sources. Excuse me, but the biggest thing that you learn in school, throughout grade school and high school and everything, is how to learn.
Yeah,
because it's something
Problem
that
solving.
it's something that you need to have every single day that you're alive on this earth.
Yeah,
is the ability to learn and apply what you've learned to new problems. And so, remembering who,
the hypotenuse of a triangle. How to calculate a hypotenuse of a triangle.
Yeah, no, I can't.
Yeah,
but you know what? It's kind of funny that you say that, because there's been a couple of times recently where that kind of geometry I'm like, oh man, I really could use that right now.
Come on.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
That's fantastic.
I think it was in here. I think we were like when we were building stuff. I'm like,
probably these triangles that you have up here. The sound dampening.
But no, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, oh man, I wish I remembered how to do. I think it had to do with like the radius of a circle and the circumference and all that stuff. I'm
Pi
like,
squared.
Yeah.
Pi squared.
But now, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. But that's why we have Google now.
Right.
So you can just look it up. But
problem solving skills. Look at that. You got it down.
Yeah. So you learn, figure out what the problem is.
Yep.
Which is that's
a problem in itself.
Exactly. Figuring out what the problem is.
Exactly.
And then saying, okay, so how do I solve it? What are the resources that I have at my fingertips now that I could use to solve these problems? And that's what you learn in school, I think.
You would hope that you do. I think even in politics now,
that's what you should learn in
right.
school.
In politics now, they're not getting back to what is the actual problem. Like there's a problem to every, or there's a very basic need to every problem, and a lot of times they're just fixing the symptoms to the problem instead of getting to the core issue at hand.
Yeah.
So problem solving skills have gone away. You have no idea how many times a week I have to tell Jaden, use your head, man. Come on, man. You can figure it out.
Think this
through.
You
got this.
Yeah.
You got this.
Yeah.
And I push him back. Go back out there and redo it. Do it right. Figure it out. That he will learn from me, gosh darn it. I push that on him all the time.
There you go.
Get out there, redo it. I make him redo it. Redo it and do it right the first time. Because when you get older, people will appreciate the fact that you took the extra time to get it right the first time.
Yeah. That's something that I'm constantly on my son about. He's going to be 16 next month. And
oh, God.
He's just scatterbrained. I love him.
Sure.
He's a great kid. He really is. He's got a good heart. He's got a good soul. He's very caring.
Hey, you can't teach that. That's inherent. That's good.
He's just like, and I'm like, can you put the garbage out? And he's, I have to take your headphones off, put your phone down, and put the garbage out, because he'll get like half the garbage out and then get sidetracked and go. And then I'm like, what are you doing? You're
blowing my mind right now.
You know what I mean?
I'd say take the garbage out and there's one can. I'm like, there's 3 cans out there, dude.
Right. You're like, what are you doing?
Right.
Do it right the first time. Why do I always have to go after you? You know what?
Right.
But then, I think back when I was a kid, when I was 16 years old, I mean, I was more than a little bit better than him at that. When I was 16, I wanted to be a Navy pilot. Like that was the big. I wanted to be in the military, like you wouldn't believe. I was in Civil Air Patrol. This is down in Florida. I was in the Civil Air Patrol. I was my squadron commander, and like I was in it, and I was like, I'm going to Annapolis. I'm gonna go into the
Was this junior ROTC? What were you in?
I was in Civil Air Patrol all through high school, and then I was supposed to go to New Mexico Military Institute for 2-year prep for college, and then go to Annapolis if I could get there. But my grades were crap. My test scores were crap. I mean, my high school, I ended up with a decent average, but I was nowhere was I at the level that you need to be to get into the academies. And I didn't realize that. I got a nomination from my senator, I believe, to the Merchant Marine Academy at Kings Point.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, so I'm gonna, be first mate on a tanker or something. But and then I went to Fort Knox, Kentucky. I went to their Camp Challenge there. Mm-hmm. So I was Army for a while, even though I was a Navy kid. I wanted to be a Navy kid anyway. But I washed out of all that stuff because I didn't have the gumption to keep. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
The discipline.
And I had the discipline, and I actually could do all the ROTC kids were. I was better at them because I had like 3 or 4 years of it before, like drilling and the uniform and all that kind of stuff. Like I killed it, but I was like, I didn't know what I wanted to do as a career. I know I wanted to fly, but then they were like, "You're colorblind, dude. You can't fly." I was like, "Are you serious?"
Jeez,
so everything, like my entire life, just went.
What color is my suit to you?
I'm gonna say it's like a bluish.
Yeah, it's shark skin blue.
Yeah, I would have never got shark skin.
I knew you weren't gonna get it.
But yeah, well, I had to. The only reason why I said blue is because I figured you wouldn't be wearing a purple suit.
Oh, I'd rock the crap out of a purple suit, dude. Lavender, especially. Right. I will rock that.
All right, I stand corrected. Yeah. You would wear a purple suit.
Dude, Prince. I'd Prince. Prince is a little bit darker purple, but I'd rock it. If I had, look, I have confidence.
Purple
I don't know if I have that
rain.
I don't know if I have that much confidence. That'd be dope, though.
Oh man, I think that's a good notion to end on. Jose Peo in the purple suit. Next time on the Blathering, you're gonna rock the purple suit. Hey man, how do people get a hold of you? Like, what's your website and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, go to josepeo.com. That's JOSEPEO.com. Also, my Facebook page is Vote for Jose Peo. Please follow me because I pretty much try and be as transparent as possible because I really truly believe that the best politicians are as transparent as they can be. Because if I'm putting something out there and you think it's the wrong thing, look, tell me. Like I said, I got thick skin. I can either defend my spot or you're right. I did the wrong thing. Let me go back and change that. So, yeah, vote for Jose Peo, josepeo.com. Instagram, you can follow me at Mr. 585.
Mr. 58. Wait, that's you?
That's me.
Mr. 585?
That's me.
I've seen that on Instagram.
I love my city. I am
You
Mr.
know what?
585.
Hey, I was raised in South Florida, but I love this. I'll never move away from this area.
Yeah?
Never.
Amazing.
I mean, if I got rich,
that.
I might get another house somewhere warmer for this winter. But
I understand that.
But I love it here.
Dude.
I absolutely love this town.
I love hearing that. You have no idea whenever someone like from college, or something like that comes into the area for work or for a significant other, and they say, "Look, I love Rochester. Where I'm from, I love it, but I love Rochester. I'm going to stay." That makes my heart giggle.
All right,
it makes it very
Jose
happy.
Peo with a giggling heart and soon to be purple suit.
That's right, baby.
When's the election? November?
June 25th is the primary. That's the big day.
In June.
Yes, we
June
do have
25th.
A primary. June
okay.
25th, that is the big day because usually once you win the primary in our city, once you win the primary, you're pretty much it.
Okay.
So June 25th is the big day.
All right, June 25th. Get out to your polling stations and vote for Peo.
Vote for Peo.
This guy right here.
Hashtag vote for Peo.
Hashtag. All right, man. I really appreciate you coming in.
Thank you. I
Best
really
of luck
appreciate it, man.
To
Thank
you
so much. Thank you.